Okay, welcome everybody. Good morning once again. Let's get started with our third session of the program. Very well done, everybody. Thanks for completing all your homeworks. Very, very interesting answers. Very, very well done. Some very interesting ones. The one that I liked a lot was the one where the door closes at the back, right? So girl walked into the store, toy store, and the door behind closed. That's interesting. Okay, that creates a lot of mystery when you start with a line like that. That's a great opening line. Okay. The one more has come in. Durga says the boy crossed the road because he wanted to meet his friend, but he did not know that he was surrounded. That's it. Interesting. Good, good, very good. Well done. So today's session, last session, we focused on understanding what a plot is, what a setting is, and then we briefly touched upon characters, creating characters and stuff. Today's session entirely will be on how to create great characters. Okay, how do we create great characters? So tell me, when you come out of watching a movie or after having, once you finish a book, what remains the most in your mind? What you live with for a long, long, long time?
The mystery.
What is it? Sorry? Okay. Akshada Arora says the character. Durva says the characters. Yes. Yes. Have you all heard of a character called Gabbar Singh? How many of you have, give me a thumbs up if you heard of the character called Gabbar Singh? Right? So many, I can see many, many thumbs up there, right? So you all have somewhere heard this character called Gabbar Singh. Guess
No.
what, friends? You know the year when Gabbar Singh got created? Gabbar Singh was created the year I was born. It's that many years later that children and generations of kids and people after that still know this character. Right? We all either have seen memes or spoofs of Gabbar Singh or watched the movie Sholay and liked Gabbar Singh or been scared of the terror that he created in the movie. So characters stand the test of time. When you create great characters, they stand the test of time. They exist for a long, 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 long time. The best proof that I gave you, example that I gave you was that of Gabbar Singh, created almost 50 years ago. And even now, kids born 10 years ago, 15 years ago, have heard of Gabbar Singh. Spider-Man, Batman, characters created long, long, long ago, right? Stay with us for a long time. So today's session will focus on how do you create, as a writer, how do you create great characters, right? What are the key essentials in creating great characters? Like I've said, a few amazing people are going to join us. First, let me introduce back again with us is Uncle Al. Uncle Al, can we say good morning to everybody? And he's going to come up with some incredible examples for you today to understand how to create great characters. So shall we all say good morning to Uncle Al and welcome him to the session?
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Can you all hear me clearly? Can you all hear me clearly?
Yes, we can hear you.
I hope you all had a great 2 weeks, and it's a pleasure being back in action, hanging out with all of you. And yes, as Sanjay said, that we're going to take you through the journey of characters and how they remain special for us long after we've read something or seen something. So yeah, let's jump right into it. Let's have a great session. Woo! Okay, I'm excited.
Thank you, Uncle Al. I mean, one of the things we're going to talk about character. You look like a character today, Uncle Al. What's with the dress? It's looking awesome.
I always got, I got my Wolverine t-shirt. I got a brand new Wolverine t-shirt with the X on it. So yeah, so I'm the original X-Man. And yeah, you gotta brighten up some Sundays, man, with as bright your clothes can be. So that was the idea.
Wonderful. So and then what about the pants? They also look pretty interesting.
They're Batman pajamas. So I'm wearing Marvel and DC together. That's what I'm doing right now.
Lovely.
So it's the Justice League meets the Avengers kind of thing.
Excellent, excellent, wonderful. Thank you for joining us again. Like I said at the beginning, my dear friends, today's session is on how to create great characters. So I hope you all can see the presentation. So just give me a thumbs up quickly if you can see the presentation, so I know you all can see. And we continue. Yes, thank you, thank you. I can see you all giving me a thumbs up. Thank you very much, everybody. Okay. So we're going to discuss the 9 keys to good character development, the 9 things that you as writers or aspiring writers should always keep in mind while creating great characters. Okay, well, let's go one by one. Let's go to the very first one. Okay, here we go. Communication style. You first need to understand how is your character going to communicate. Okay, what is the style of your character? Okay, there are a couple of questions. Okay, sure. Ahan, you raised your hand before I begin. What's the question? Yeah.
Actually, sir, I just raised my hand, but like, sir, you have to first understand like the actors and the actors and who's going to voice them and all.
So acting comes much later, but before an actor even appears, you create the character that the actor is going to portray. So we will start with how to create that character. As writers, you need to know how to create those amazing characters. Okay, so let's start with the first one, communication style. Okay, so I will introduce what the key is to create a character, and then Uncle Al will take over and he will give us great examples. So I'm ready. Uncle Al, communication style. What do we have for our kids here today?
So communication style, one of the greatest actors of all time, Daniel Day-Lewis, very explicitly says that the way a person speaks is the first window into his character's soul. So the way you make your character speak, if it's in a film, in a show, in a piece of text, a novel, anything, is very important. If you write a character, the audience can't hear the character, of course, because it's in a book, but you as a writer should know how a character's voice will change at different points of time. For example, you have a character called Batman, Bruce Wayne. When he speaks as Bruce Wayne in most of the movies, even in the comics, he has a simple voice where he talks with a certain style, and he's a rich man, so he speaks with a certain bass, with a certain command. But the minute he shifts into the costume and he becomes Batman, his voice kind of changes. It becomes scarier, it becomes stronger. So the same person who's talking like this will go to, what are you trying to tell me? How are you trying to go do this? So the minute you switch your communication style, his language, okay, and the way he speaks, his tone of voice, it can tell a lot about the character. Similarly, in a film, in an animated film called The Lion King, which has 2 brothers. One is Mufasa, the other is Scar. Mufasa is the king of the jungle, and he speaks very eloquently and very sweetly to everyone. You have his son, Simba, who's a little who's young and has a jumpy voice, and he speaks like this, and then he's very excited about everything. And then you have Scar, Uncle Scar, who will speak very deeply, and then he will go in and, oh, is that what you're trying to say? So all the voices that change will define what the characters are straight up the minute you hear them. So that's these are 2 examples, but always try to focus on the communication style of the character, because it'll really help you as a writer.
Right. So which way just to sum up, which way your character communicates, okay, whether he has a strong deep voice, whether he's a quiet person, whether he speaks, whether he's a man or woman of fewer words, or whether he's a person who speaks way too many words. whether he's a fast speaker, okay, whether he uses a lot of body language, okay, that is it. But Shaurya, you've been wanting to ask a question. What's the question, Shaurya?
Yes. But for example, there is one character, I don't remember him. He's from 90s. You know, he doesn't change his language. For example, actually he's a hero of a certain show or something. But he doesn't change his voice even in his bad times or even in his good times or any of his patterns.
Very
That,
interesting.
that can be his communication style. He stays the same throughout, right? So you can also write a character like that. It's absolutely fine. You don't have to bring changes, but if what the person is experiencing and what he's saying makes sense, your communication style will always be in your hands. So choose the way you want to do it. It works either way.
Okay, so what you as a creator, what unique things you want to bring to your characters? Okay, your character probably has a difficulty to pronounce a particular word. Maybe you want to just show that. Okay, and every time he has a difficulty in pronouncing that word, that probably is because of some trauma during his childhood. So you can bring about very interesting elements of in your character in the way he communicates. Okay, the style with which he communicates can be different for different characters, and you can bring some uniqueness in it. Focus on that. Don't just think that your character is speaking or communicating. Create something new in the way your character speaks. Yes, somebody raised the hand. Please go ahead, speak. Shah Rukh Khan, for instance, portrays a romantic or an arrogant character using his voice, and it's as if we can feel his emotions just by his tone of voice. Okay, very interesting. Just like Spider-Man friend. Okay. Okay, interesting.
Sir, actually, I mean that actually his Spider-Man's friend was having difficulties to pronounce his Peter. Means he was having difficulties to pronounce Peter. So it is a type of thing.
Very interesting. Yes, that's right. That's a character communication style element. Ahan, you want to say something?
Excuse me, sir. Like there's this one book called Kid Cosmic. There's also a TV show, but in the TV show, there's some rings, okay? But one kid, the main character named Kid Cosmic, had trouble pronouncing his own power.
Okay, interesting. Good. That's a great example and well pointed. Okay, well pointed out. Well done. Okay, good example. Excellent example. So you all have understood this. Give me a thumbs up, everybody. The first point, your character's communication style will be something, should be something unique that you create that helps differentiating the characters from other characters easily, right? Okay, let's move on to the next one. So what else after communication style? What do we have next? We have history. The history of the character. You need to know the history of your characters. So I will let Alec take over and explain this before we examine.
So history is where the character comes from, who his parents were, what his family was all about, his roots, what is the origin of the character. Of course, we have a million examples, but if you take Harry Potter, for example, his parents were wizards, and then his father was married to someone who was not a wizard, so the wizarding community got angry with him, and then they came after him, and then his parents, yes, and then his parents suffered a tragic end at the hands of Lord Voldemort. So that kind of based why he was staying with his uncle and aunt and his cousin brother, who were not very nice to him, and then he was taken away from them to go to Hogwarts. So where Harry Potter reached was a lot based upon where he came from. Similarly, Thor comes from this planet called Asgard, where he's the king's son, and the father feels he's very arrogant and he might not be the right king after me, so Thor has to prove himself. Wonder Woman comes from this planet called Themyscira, where she's carved out of clay because her planet needs saving and she's the pure warrior. So how you go about creating everything about your character, at least for yourself, even if in what you write, in the story that you write, you don't have to specifically spell out everything that has happened. Okay, but if you as a writer know where your character is coming from, what his roots, what his or her roots are, it'll help you a lot in taking the journey forward for the character. So that is something that you should always be careful about. It'll also be fun to know your characters more yourself. So yeah, that's what you should always try to do.
Wonderful examples. So if you know the history of your character, what problems the character grew up with, what the people that he belonged to or she belonged to, what did they have to go through, what did they endure, or what did they achieve, or what was their common goal. All these factors, if you know, right? So you will be able to create a wonderful journey for the character. Then you will know your character much more than what you reveal. It's always important because you need to be, you as a creator absolutely need to know every bit of your character, every single thing about your character. If we started with saying communication style, very important equally is the history of the character. Like I said, the place where he was born may be important. Let's say he was born, not even defining a country, let's say he was born next to a strawberry field. Will he be as he grows up, will he have a fondness for strawberries more than anybody else, or will he be able to spot the best strawberries, better than others? If he grew up, let's say he was born next to a strawberry field and grew up there, closer to the fields, right?
His favorite ice cream was strawberry ice cream, for example.
Probably he might possibly, you can create another way and say he was tired eating strawberry ice cream.
He did not like strawberries at all. His worst ice cream was strawberry ice cream. Yeah, never would have that.
Exactly. So knowing the character's history, which you should in your mind or we should write down separately, will help later. For example, if you knew that he grew up in a field, he grew up eating too many strawberries. Maybe you create a scene later when he goes to another place and for the first time has chocolate ice cream. His life changed. Because until then, he believed the best ice cream was always strawberry. But then, let's say he had chocolate ice cream for the first time and he realized this is the real deal. And I'm going to, from now on, love chocolate ice cream more than anything else. So that's important. Yeah, Shaurya, you have something to ask?
Yes, I don't have something to ask, but I have something to share. For example, I have a real life example of a person who was born in the most, crimed place in Mumbai. And actually, because of that, his father, his uncle, and his mother died. But also because of that, and because of that hardness, he became a rich man of that, region, also in the whole Mumbai.
Very interesting. So you're essentially saying somebody who had to face hardships as a young child made him stronger, right? So knowing his history tells us why he became stronger and then why he achieved what he could achieve, right?
And just as Shaurya said, real life examples will help a lot at this stage of your writing careers, where look around you, try to understand where your relatives come from, who their parents were, how their parents were, what their relationship was with their parents, with their siblings. It'll give you a lot of notes and a lot of elements to work with, because these are all your friends, your family, and people you know. So you can ask more questions. It'll open your mind to write more. So always try to use that. I do that a lot. So it really helps.
Wonderful. So Mahin, you have something to ask or say?
Sir, can you explain the history of character again? I didn't understand.
Okay, so for example, I'll give you an example. When I started acting, Sanjay was my first writer-director, and we did 3 plays together over a span of 3 years. For every character that I played in Sanjay's plays, along with the script and the dialogues, Sanjay would give me 4-5 pages on who I was, before I reached the part where the play starts. What my schooling was, what were my friends growing up, what sport I played as I grew up, how well I did in college, who my friends were, what was my relationship with my parents, with my family. So even before I started learning the dialogues or working on the script, I knew who I was. So every time I read something, uh, I already had a preparation of how I should probably read this because I have already lived this life. I would add my own notes to it, but I would check with Sanjay that do you think he would have also done this? And Sanjay would be like, you know what, Alek, I think this is a good point, but this part leave out. I don't think he would have experienced this in his life to come to this. So Sanjay himself used to give me a lot of notes about the characters that I used to play in the stuff that we did together. So that history always helps a performer, an actor, to kind of prepare better. Yeah.
And yes, just like Kalal, just like you were in the Gujjubhai, that you were so very stiff and very chalak in
Yeah.
films.
I was a struggling actor who was trying to make a movie for a very long time and launch myself as a hero. I was not finding anyone to invest money in a film only. So I thought I'm going to make a rich girl my girlfriend and tell her father to produce a movie. That's what my backstory was in that. So everything came from there. So all the chalaki, as you just said, is from there.
Good, nice, great example. Alex's own character example that somebody has brought up. Wonderful. So is everyone clear? Give me a thumbs up so that we can move ahead and go to the next key in character building.
Yeah, we got a lot of stuff to cover, so we're gonna speed it up a little as well. All right, guys.
Yes. Okay. Good. So we next move to the third one, which is appearance. Alec, here I'm going to bring in
Appearances.
somebody.
Ah,
As you give examples, I'm also going
Hmm.
to invite somebody else, Alec. So first you may start. Go ahead, Alec.
appearances. Costumes. There are a bunch of superhero costumes which define all the characters who wear those costumes. From switching costumes to a normal outfit to your superhero outfit, that's a different way to explore it. Each color which each superhero wears represents something to the writer, to the character. Batman wears black because he's a warrior of the night. Superman wears red and blue because he represents light. Iron Man is got that silver, that the golden red thing because he comes from money and he wants to create. So each character, yellow comes from the color of adamantium, which is unbreakable. So each superhero outfit can signify something. So a lot of thought has gone into each outfit by the writers. Similarly, when you have kings and you have queens and you have princes and princes, and it just comes to a place where they will dress a certain way, they will behave a certain way, their poise, their grace, the way they will carry themselves, the way they will walk, their costumes, and the way they will look will go a long way in deciding how a character will behave, what a character will become eventually in the story. So always try to be clear with the outfits that you would want your characters to wear, the color combinations, the styling of each character, because it will add a lot of layers to each character that you create. It's great. It's a lot of fun to create fashion. Yay! Huh.
Great. Akshada has a question. So, Akshada, what's your question?
He said that like the colors, you need to focus on the colors to the how, like, why do we focus on the colors? I've seen villains wearing dark colors and heroes wearing bright colors. Why is that so?
So yeah, so that's because it's what does dark represent? Dark represents when you cannot see. When you cannot see is when someone can come and cheat you. Someone can come and harm you. If you can see which is why a villain would always be in like a darker shade, because they might sneak up and they might do something evil to you. A hero is always bright because they bring light wherever they go. whenever there is darkness, a hero comes in with bright costumes and is light and makes everything a little more visible, everything a little more clear, helps you to fight evil better. So these are uh, a very basic example of light and dark, but they kind of represent that way. And in that, you can just play with all kinds of combinations. You know
Okay.
what I'm saying, right?
Yeah, great. I'll just add a couple of things here. Color. Somebody brought up the point of why color. Why can somebody wear dark at times, but at the same time, a hero wears sometimes dark, sometimes bright. What is the difference, sister? It all depends on in terms of color. You want to enhance the setting and the plot through your colors. You all have heard of this company called Pixar, right? Everybody? Pixar makes all your amazing animated movies, Toy
Yes,
Story.
sir.
And,
Yes, sir.
yeah. So
Disney,
Pixar,
Pixar, yeah.
yeah, Pixar is a great company. You know what they have? They have something called a color palette for every scene in the movie. Depending on the mood of the scene, okay. Suppose it's a funny scene, they have certain colors to be achieved for that scene. Suppose it's a serious scene, okay, very serious, something threatening is about to happen, they have a different color palette for that scene. So they will give a color palette range and then you have to follow that. So the characters will be dressed in that scene accordingly. Okay. The setting, the lighting of that scene will be accordingly. So Pixar works with scene-based color palettes. So colors have a mean a lot. Each color brings out certain emotions, certain feelings in us. Okay, when we see certain colors, we react to those colors in a certain way. So depending on the situation and depending on the settings, one wants to bring out various colors through the scenes and through the stories and through whatever through your narration. Colors play a very important role along with look and feel. Colors in that, what color your hero wears, what color your main character or your villain wears, make a big difference. Okay, Ahan, you had something to say before I move to Shaurya. Ahan?
Before I wanted to say like why Batman was black. But sir, I also want to say one thing. What about you told that villains always wear black, right? And there's this one book called Gravity Falls, and there's this one villain called Bill Cipher. He's a dream demon, meaning that he is like always bright.
Can be. See, there is no hard and fast rule.
Yeah, there's no rule.
Yeah,
Krish wears black. Krish, like the Indian superhero Krish, had a black outfit and a black mask, right? So it's absolutely fine to explore. Yeah, go on, Sanjay.
Yeah, so you essentially might decide what shades you want to give to your villain. So suppose you want to make your villain a cool and a bright villain and then eventually make him scary later, you could do that. And so he wears bright clothes and he likes like that. And probably that becomes difficult for us to see menacing evil man wear bright colors and come which we are supposed to enjoy, but then he turns out to be very evil. That may make the fear double. Right?
The Joker wears pinks, purples, greens. Batman wears black. Batman is the nice guy. The Joker is the villain, right? So it's a contrast there. They flipped it around. So yeah.
Interesting. Shaurya, you want to say something?
Yes, actually, I had also questions. And first, I will say example about Ahan. That there is also one, he's a Sammy villain and a Sammy hero. So first, he was a hero who had, dullish clothes, for example, black and gray. But then afterwards, when he became villain, he started wearing whitish, yellowish.
Interesting. See,
and also I had a question. For example, in Spider-Man, the characters changed after a while and a while. For example, first was Peter, then there was someone else, then there was someone else. So, can this be in this category?
Alec, you want to take that?
Are you talking about Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse? How you have all these different...
Sir, I think he's talking about like the Amazing Spider-Man, Spider-Man 2, like different ones.
Oh yeah, like the character only changed. They got a new actor to play the character.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Yeah, but that's a whole new actor. That's a whole new film. But even in those, you will see some things are similar in the way they've kind of handled. All the three actors who have played Spider-Man look similar. They act in a similar way. Even if they're not the same people, they have the same qualities, which we're actually going to come to a little later. So let's hold this thought. I think we should move on because I have something on Spider-Man a little later, which will answer this question. So don't worry.
This is the right time to bring in one of our celebrities who's joining us right now, Shruti Sodhi, a wonderful actress, a newsreader, somebody who I had the opportunity to work with, a great actor. She's worked in a lot of movies in the South, in Punjabi, and she has worked with some big stars. She's a short story writer herself, and I'm going to request her to join us right now. And once she comes in, everybody, let's all say hello to her, and she can highlight a little more on look and feel of a character, what it is, what should we as writers focus on when it comes to creating a look and feel for a character. Hi, Shruti, are you there with us? Have you joined already?
Hi, everyone. Yes, am I audible?
Yes, very
Yes, you
clear.
are, Shruti. Shruti
Hi,
Sodhi.
Ali.
Hello.
Hi, Sanjay. Hello to
Thanks
all
for
the
joining,
kids.
everybody.
Yeah, it's so awesome. What a Sunday to have. All the kids. Hi, everyone.
Hi, ma'am.
Hi, mom.
I am so impressed. Hi, I'm already impressed with you, all of you. I mean, you're so bright and you're so inquisitive. You guys have such. I saw the homework also that Sanjay and Uncle Al gave you guys, I think. And yes, about the boys crossing the street. And I think it's so creative. Do you guys realize that the possibilities are endless? Right? When you write something about characters as an actor, when a writer, a director, when they tell us something, we always, in fact, Sanjay and Alek, they've covered so many points about character. I had a few pointers of my own. I want to start with one example, actually. I think in your homework, one of the kids, one of you wrote, the boy crossed the street and saw a snake and got scared and ran away. Right? There was one such example. Now, my thought was, what if this boy was brave? That's a change of character, personality trait. What if this boy was brave and did not get scared, did not run away? Then the next scene, as a writer, what you would write would be very different. You know what I'm trying to say? So when you change one element of your character, even one small element, for example, let's take a name called Aditya. There is a boy named Aditya. Aditya is very brave. But if Aditya was not brave, he would react differently to a situation versus if Aditya was a boy who was very brave. You know what I'm trying to say? So, okay, now talking about the look and the feel of character, one look is within what your character is thinking. The other is the external. Also, as a writer, you guys have to take into the aspect of everything. Like nobody knows this person better than you. Nobody does. So the reader is visualizing whatever you are feeding the reader. As an actor, artist, or a viewer, we are basically absorbing all that you've written. Now, there are two kinds. I realized one thing. Now, when you're writing a novel, a storybook, and for a book, when you're writing, you're giving space for the reader to visualize, to imagine things. When you're writing for a play, for a movie, what you end up doing is that there is less of spoon feeding because you can show a lot of things by just describing the setting. Okay, there are two examples that I want to, in fact, press my point home, with like basically one movie called Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. How many of you have watched that film? It's one of my favorite films, by the way. What? Such less people. Have none of you watched Charlie and the Chocolate Factory? It's a really old film. It's 2005. Okay, lovely. Guys, do go and watch the ones who have not watched it. And I think the way they've characterized, now some example about character. Charlie is shown, firstly, the Charlie's social setting is described. Charlie is a little boy. He is in a poor household. Charlie drinks cabbage soup. And that basically the writer's trying to tell that Charlie is poor. Now, how do you describe the social setting? And why is Charlie so obsessed with chocolates that Willy Wonka makes? Because Charlie is next to a factory, the Wonka factory. Why is Charlie so obsessed with the Wonka factory again? Also because Charlie's grandfather used to work there. So there are so many elements justifying why Charlie is the way Charlie is. His social setting, where he is born, and his family struggles a lot, the food. But Charlie also inherently has a certain nature, certain personality. Charlie is kind, Charlie is sweet, and that's why the way he reacts to situations is very different from other kids. Now, the writer has basically made sure there are four other kids, right? Okay. In the movie, there are a couple of kids that get the lottery ticket. For those who have watched it, the movie has, there is a chocolate factory, and the owner of the chocolate factory is played by Johnny Depp. Now, these kids get a chance to go to the chocolate factory. They have to win a gold lottery ticket. How the plot proceeds is firstly they establish Charlie's character, Charlie's fascination for this chocolate, and why Charlie really wants to go to the factory. First, the writer establishes it by talking about the grandfather telling Charlie the stories, by telling so many of these things. Why Charlie is on the road and is so fascinated. Then the plot moves to this entire hunt for the lottery ticket, and that's what excites. So basically, there is a movement of plot. Then cut to there are winners. Now the other kids, the writer has made sure their character is very, very crisp and clean. One of the kid who's won the lottery is very rich. She's a snob, and she behaves like that. She feels entitled, so her body language will be like that. So when you are writing for a character like this, there should be there is clarity in the writer's head. The writer is writing that this girl is a snob. She doesn't talk properly to anyone, including her own mother, and she doesn't treat everybody right because the way she's entitled and the setting she's come from, she has not seen anything else. This is what the character really knows. Now that's one kid. The second kid that is shown in the film. Yes, if you can see, there are 5 in total. The second kid is a really greedy boy. He's so greedy, and that's why you see the physical trait also of that greedy boy. I don't even need to see, say which one is a greedy boy, because he is obsessed with food. He's so greedy that he doesn't think of whether he's hungry or not, whether he needs something or not. So the writer has described the character so well, and every description, that internal description, is also reflective on the outside in those characters. There is a third one. There is a kid who is obsessed with chewing gum, and then there is another character. So every character has its trait. It's so clear, and they're so distinct. And that's why Charlie, being kind and sweet, has kind eyes. So when you're writing a character like Charlie, you will probably use words like Charlie's kind eyes. So basically, you've already established Charlie's kind. Sometimes you don't even need to use the word. You can probably just in a reactive way, you describe, okay, all these kids were mean to, or there are also characters called Oompa Loompas who help in the factory. Oompas, something like that. The
Oompa Loompas, yeah.
So,
Oompa Loompas.
Yeah, Oompa Loompas, yes. So basically they help in the factory. They're little pygmies, and then they're yes, and what happens is that some of the kids are really mean to them, but Charlie is kind. So the way Charlie is treating the other people, the staff of the factory, is also reflective of the nature, the personality of Charlie. So here the writer has not written, like if you're writing a book, you don't have to write Charlie is such a kind child. No, Charlie is treating the others so well and with so much warmth. It automatically is reflective. So words make a lot of difference. Sometimes you have to spoon feed, sometimes you don't. Sometimes you can just slip in the reaction and the interaction of a character with other characters, and you can establish the behavior. Now, there is a social setting that we describe. There is age. Now, if your character is 15 years old, we'll go to tuitions, we'll go to school. But if your character is about 25 years old, the character will go to work. So also the place of your plot will change. For example, if you're talking about a 10-year-old kid will always be chaperoned with parents. So you'll always be like, okay, so and so, if Aditya is a 10-year-old boy, Aditya is a 10-year-old boy and went to play under the building at the playground. So suddenly your plot, the location of your plot is a playground. Now, if Aditya, the 15-year-old boy has to go for tuitions, or 16-year-old boy has to go and prepare for exams and go to tuitions, that will change to a tuition center. I'm giving examples. The possibilities are endless, infinite. Now, if Aditya is a 20-year-old person is going to college, has different experiences. Exactly. Shaurya said 20-year-old military personnel, if that's possible. So suddenly, now Aditya can be a different of a different nature before joining military, but after military, the polishedness of Aditya will also change. So your character will keep developing. Also, you never need to tell your reader, your viewer, everything. मतलब एक time पे सब कुछ नहीं खिलाना है. We don't want them to get indigestion. We want our readers, our viewers to actually have that element of, how you reveal the character one by one. Now, there are times in a movie script when we're reading all throughout, like imagine the first 10 scenes in a film, my character is being very nice and lovely to a friend of mine. In the 11th or the 12th scene, there might be a change of personality. How will the writer write about it? Now, a friend of mine said something to me about something. It could be any personal detail or work detail or maybe casual. But the writer can write, Shruti turned away from Aditya turned away and gave a wicked smile. You know what I mean? All throughout, there was no hint of wickedness. There was no hint. Shruti was very nice. Suddenly, her character is responding a certain way. And you've got to establish each and every reaction of your character. Shruti can't just for the heck of it or just for the sake of it, turn wicked. Now, Shruti was probably always like that. But Shruti is pretending. Maybe, and those hints you can leave as a writer in the previous scenes. And then after that wicked smile line, you can probably step by step reveal more things about the character in behavior, in words. It can be anything like that. So I feel like always make sure you're writing, you reveal dheere dheere karke. For all those who are yawning, have you had your breakfast? Everybody who's eaten. I have not. I can't raise my hand.
Wonderful.
I think we're the most energetic. So
Shruti,
okay,
that was
now I
really
have.
insightful. Yeah.
Ma'am, I wanted to add something.
Okay.
Yes, please go ahead.
You said like in the movie that there's some backstories.
Yep.
Like in the
Always.
Oompa Loompas, apparently, like when Charlie went wandering around the forest, he promised to, if he like the Oompa Loompas worked, he would
Right.
give them cocoa and all.
Right. And there is always a backstory. That's why Charlie has a soft spot, a soft corner for the Oompa Loompas, because there is a backstory. So every character, as a writer, you might not tell the reader or the viewer, but your reader is very intelligent. And you can always leave hints the way your character will react. If Charlie is warm with Oompa Loompas or is very kind to and fond of Oompa Loompas, there's got to be a reason for it, right? Either Willy Wonka, I mean, my bad. Willy Wonka. So Willy Wonka, if is nice to his factory staff, the Oompa Loompas, the reason for it has to be a backstory. Either Willy Wonka is a very kind man or Oompa Loompas have helped him. So there is always, there's got to be a reason. You've got to justify it in your head. So that story is something that you can either put on paper or you can put it off paper in your head. But it's got to be clear to a writer in that sense. Just one last thing from a film that I'm shooting. I know you guys have a lot of questions. I'll keep it short. So I'm shooting for a film right now. It's a Punjabi film. And the film has a lot of characters. My character's name is Heer. I have a best friend whose name is Sonia. And we both are very different people. Now, what makes us different? Our backstory has not been shown in the film, but what has been shown in the film is the fact that my character, is a girl who has a lot of responsibilities. She has loans to pay. Her mother passed away when she was very young, and she is running her mother's restaurant. So she has these loans to pay off, and her father is handicapped. So she has these, she's not very chirpy or bubbly all the time because she doesn't have time. She's working all the time. In her head, she's wondering how will she run the restaurant? Will she be able to pay the loans? Now, my character is also, with all this responsibility, her one way out is biking. She's a biker. She loves to bike. So now talking about external, as an actor, I'm wearing biker jackets. I have a cool attitude in a certain way. I'm fearless. I'm also fearless because I have these responsibilities and I have no time to be scared. So everything, each of these experiences shape my character. How I look, how I style it, how as a writer you would describe it, and mentally what's going on. There is a scene, and I'm not allowed to speak about it, but I will still share it with you all. It's going nowhere, I know. Okay, so there is a scene where I'm talking to my best friend. My best friend's name is Sonia. Sonia is very rich. Her father is the one I've taken the loan from. Now, Sonia is someone who she has no responsibilities. She is a free bird. She enjoys herself. Her entire aim, her way of thinking is very different from here because of her social setting and where she comes from. She comes from a stable, rich family, and her entire, focus is on how to just maybe post on Instagram or maybe have a good time with friends. So when he and Sonia are talking, if Sonia is joking around, is bossing around, he is not joining in that little, not being a goofball. My character is he is not being a goofball, but he is literally being the mature one in the relationship, in this friendship, and enjoying a little time off, in her head. And my character, because my writer told me, my director and writer, they were together. They said, you know what, Shruti, when he and Sonia are talking, Sonia is very energetic and she is extremely excited and she is very funny and being, teasing you. But you will not, his character will not act cute, will not act, oh, I'm enjoying this and I'll be a goofball because that's what friends do. Because he has to go to work, he has responsibilities. So throughout, as a writer, they've written in the script that he is distracted, he is looking at her watch, she's getting late for work, and she's already so worried because her installment's coming up. So basically, what you do is you're telling your reader, your viewer, what's going on in your character's head. And because the writer wrote all of this, I knew that I had to act very subtle, that I had to not smile too much or act too chirpy. So basically, what the writer has written for me and the backstory of my character has made it very easy for me as an actor. Similarly, as a viewer, actors basically act and you're supposed to absorb and understand and perceive that acting, right? And the story. As a reader, when you're spelling it out in even more detail, when you're writing even more detail, your viewer will visualize that, okay, you're visualizing that there are two friends sitting in a cafe. One of them is jumping and it's extremely loud and happy and chirpy. The other one is very mellow and worried about her work and little distracted. So this is how you're doing character building. Well, that is it for my examples. I can talk a lot more, but I think we have limited time. Sanjay, let's do with the questions.
Fantastic. I think that's great insights that you've been able to share. It's going to really help them.
Thank you.
Amazing insights.
Thank you.
Your own personal experience of playing a character and how what differentiation you created to great. I think Charlie in the Chocolate Factory is a great example that that you brought in to highlight look and feel and appearances and internal and external, how one can create great characters there. I'll probably take a few questions. I'll start with Shaurya. Shaurya, you have a question.
Yes.
And this will be addressed to ma'am, Shruti ma'am.
Yes. Actually, I also want to share something that there is a film called very long series. It's about a World War One. I don't remember. It's in the name of the film is D-Day, and it is shown from starting. It is not shown. There is a main character. there's not shown that the story of it, but in the middle of the film it is shown that his whole history, that when he was born, and how in the world in actually in World War I, when he was born and his house was attacked or something, and the story continues that way. So this is also an example, I guess.
Yeah, interesting. Good.
Yes, it
So
is. It is.
good. I will want you all to just raise your hands if you have any question for Shruti ma'am. She'll leave us in a few minutes. So before she leaves, quickly, do you all have any questions? Anything interesting you want to know from her? Anybody, just raise your hand and I'll allow you to ask whatever question you have. Okay, Pratyush
If
Trivedi.
you're not asking me questions, means I've actually made you guys understand in the best possible way. So that's a compliment to me. Or you're all really sleepy and you should be asking your mom to give you a little chocolate shake or something for energy boost. It's not healthy.
Good. So Pratyush, what's your question?
So I just wanted to ask that how many movies have you done in the past?
I've done about 13
Awesome.
films, and apart from films, I've also been a news anchor. So we used to write our own scripts in news, and we used to do the editing and then go on air and then speak. I used to deliver news as well. In films, I've worked in Punjabi films, I've worked in Telugu films. There was a Chinese film as well, where I played a character called Iron Princess. Apparently, this is to do with some mythology in China. And then there is a Hindi film called Ab Dilli Dur Nahi, which released last year, where I played a character of a doctor who who sacrifices a lot. And then it's not shown in the film, but she leaves. Anyway, if you watch the film whenever you can. But yes, I mean, I've done Hindi, different films. I've done about 13, and I've done a lot of anchoring work as well. I love writing stories. I've not put everything out there, but maybe soon. What is a
Great.
news anchor? A news anchor is, जैसे आप आज तक or you watch these news channels and they deliver news to you. The news reader, a news reader is a news anchor. Arnab
Yeah.
Goswami, even when he's not yelling, is a news anchor.
Okay. So Akshada has a question too. What's your question, Akshada?
Like, what's your favorite story that you've written and you have not put out?
Okay, so there was this. So it's not released yet. There was a short film that I made. It's called Unkahi. I made that during. I wrote it in 2018. This was the time of demonetization. Do you guys remember demonetization happened? And I think you were very little. So suddenly, and then there were notes were changed, and a lot of people lost a lot of money for various reasons. So during that time, it was about. Well, it might. I don't know if you can. Yes, of course, I can tell you. Vedashri Chauhan, I'm reading the messages as well at the bottom and responding. So basically, the story was about how it's not just, in our society, we talk about females being oppressed, being suppressed. This story surrounded that sometimes even the men suffer. So there were 3 parallel stories. My character, same actor, played the 3 parallel stories. And one of the character was slightly lower middle class, and he's content with his life, a really kind man. He goes through something, then basically through his lens, through his point of view, the character goes and experiences that when he goes to his boss's house, he sees some kind of injustice with his boss. Then he goes ahead and he works in a cafeteria. He quits his job and then he works in a cafe. Again, he sees some injustice against another boy. So it is basically how he comes together. He then forms a legal organization to help men get over the injustices that they have received. Because we always talk about women and of course, our society, inequality in our society, but I think men don't get talked about that often. And that was something that was a theme of it. And yes, I tried to make sure that.
Thank you, Shruti. I think with that, we will say thank you to you. Let's all clap for her and wish her good luck for all the wonderful things that she's going to present to us in the future. Thank you very, very much, Shruti, for your valuable insights. I think we definitely learned some really useful things today.
Thank you.
Thank you very, very
Great
much
seeing
for
you,
joining.
Shruti. Take care.
And
See you soon.
Likewise. Yes.
also one more. I also have one more question.
Quickly,
Mhm.
yes, quickly, because we have Atulji waiting for us. Our next celebrity guest, Atul Tiwari ji, is right there
I
with us.
want to ask, have you done any murder films? Like murder mystery or anything?
Um, Not a murder mystery yet. I mean, no, not a murder mystery yet. Not yet, but who knows? Not yet.
Thank
I
you.
can
Thank
see
you very
a
much.
murder
Thanks,
mystery
Ram, for
writer
the
in the
question.
future.
Thank you.
Sanjay, Sanjay, Alek, you guys are doing so well, and I can't
Thank
wait to be a
you.
part of another session very soon.
Thank you. Thank you very much. See you
Bye.
later.
Bye,
Bye
everyone.
The
bye.
next batch of students. Thank you. Take care. Have a good afternoon lunch, Sunday afternoon
Thank
lunch.
you. Thank you. Happy Sunday to all.
Happy
Bye.
birthday to your mom. Thank you. Take care.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye, Shruti. Bye-bye. And straight away, Alek, we'll continue with the
Yeah,
rest in just a few minutes. But before we do,
yeah.
don't worry, we'll finish it up. We'll wrap it up. But we have Atulji joining us. So, Atul Tiwari, let me, once Atulji joins us, ladies and gentlemen, all my friends here, little kids, tell me where you saw him. Let me tell, once he joins us, I want you to look at him and tell where, in which movie did you see Atulji? He's a wonderful, wonderful, great writer, one of the finest writers I've met in my life, worked with some of the greatest stars in the world, from Hrithik Roshan to Kamal Hassan to he's worked with everybody and worked on their movies. So he's joined us right now. Atulji, can you say hi to everybody?
Hi, young friends. How are you?
Good morning,
Yay!
Atulji.
Mr.
Good
Atul Tiwari
morning.
in the
How are
house.
you? Hi, Sanjay.
I'm
How are
great, sir.
you?
I'm great, sir.
Lovely, lovely.
So now, before Atulji says anything more and
Can you,
introduces,
Sanjay, take this creative canvas off the screen
oh yeah, sure. So
That's it. Yeah.
I'll probably
so that I can see
stop
more of
sharing
you?
right now. Yeah,
Yeah. Thank you.
great.
Yes.
So good. Where have you all seen Atulji? Who's going to quickly tell me? Can somebody? Ruta gives me an answer. Three Idiots. Three Idiots.
These children were too young when Three Idiots came
Three Idiots
to
came
the
out.
screen,
Then
and they are still young. I don't know whether they have seen it on television at all or not.
I watched it.
Hi.
I remember watching it on Prime Video or on Netflix.
Oh, wonderful, wonderful.
and do you all
And,
remember the classic scene in which he appears in that movie?
Isn't he the teacher? Like the teacher?
I'm
Not
the
really,
minister.
not really.
I'm the
The
minister
minister. Yeah.
who's sitting with the principal
Oh,
of the school.
Remember, he gives that famous funny speech, and then
Anyway,
there's
all of them were not
minister who
born
comes.
at that time when the film came. So they are so young, so wonderful. Good, good, good. And I can see that most of you come from the Indian background. Hmm?
Absolutely, Atulji. So there are some like
Yeah.
some from Dubai. All of them are from Indian background, but there are some from
Yes,
Dubai, and then in
yes,
the
yes.
afternoon batch there
Lovely,
are a couple of
lovely,
them from
lovely,
Singapore,
lovely,
and
lovely.
most of them are from India, though. So yes, Atulji, help us understand just one thing
Yes,
today
yes,
of the many things we are learning. We just want to understand while writing what is. We always hear the term creating an arc for the character, creating the character's journey or an arc.
yes.
How would you explain that to all these lovely little kids here with us today?
Well, let me start with a story first. It's a very interesting story. I love it a lot. Now, you kids tell me, how did you find this story? There was a king. When he
very nice.
came to the marriageable age, he married a queen. Then they had a daughter. After some time, the king was old and he died. Now the daughter became the queen and she married somebody. Now they had a daughter. Then after some time, the king and the queen were old, they died. Then their daughter married somebody. Then they had a daughter. The daughter was growing up after the king and queen died. Then they had a daughter, etc., etc., etc. How was this story? Be frank.
Very boring.
Very boring.
Not at all interesting.
Exactly. Exactly. Not at all interesting. Very boring. I was deliberately telling you that I love this story, etc., etc. It's very boring. Why it's boring? because nothing new is happening.
There
And in
is
the
no
characters
problem
also,
in the
in
story.
that, hello, yes, tell me please.
There is no like conflict or solution or anything in the
There is
story.
no conflict, there is no solution, there is nothing happening. And the characters also, they just get born. They give a
There is no
child, they die.
intense in the story.
There is nothing happening in the story. So in a story, let us say, if three characters are there, I'm sure you, because you come from the Indian background, you have all read about Ramayana, the story of Ram, Sita, Ravan. Have you all read that? Or have you all heard that? Do you all know this basically? So now, let us say if Ramayana was something like this, that Dashrath was a king, he had a son Raman, he had a son Ram, and he went and broke the Shiva's bow and he got married to Sita. Then they came and then he became the king after his father's death. Then they had Love Kush. One of them became the king, etc., etc. It would have been very boring. Now, what happens to the character of Ram? It's very important to understand if we are looking at the arc of a character. Now, look at what all through, as you know, an arc is something like which goes up like this, not in a straight line, but in a curved line, or maybe other kind of a curved lines as well. So in this curve, the curves of life, because life never goes straight, like from point A to point B. It covers from A to Z, Z to J, J to F, F to K, and K to, then it goes to Z again. So life is like that. And any character's life's arc, if a character is at the point 0, and at the end also he's at point 0, then nothing has changed in the character's life. Unless until there are changes in a character's life, unless until he is a different man at the end of the story, unless until he goes through ups and downs of the life. I'm sure there are some of you who have already always topped your class. But the thing is, if 1 year you don't top your class, and your mother, father said, now this year, no going out, this year, no cinema, this year, no films, this year, no sports ground, then what happens? Suddenly your arc has gone down. But then you mehnat karo again, then you work hard again and reach again to the top. This time only to the second position, but in the final, you go to the top. So these ups and downs are what make the arc of a character. Now let us say that Ram's character in Ramayana, how it goes. Ram was about to be the king. His father has declared that now my son is an adult. Now my son is married. Actually, you know how much was Ram's age when he got married to Sita? He was about 28 years old. That's what Tulsi Das, the Hindi writer of the Ramayana, tells us. So he was about 28. So father was very happy, and father was also getting old. So he said, now, next day, my Ram will be given the crown and the throne. But in between, what happens? Suddenly, the man who was ready to be crowned, his stepmother tells the father that, no, you have to remember the boon which you gave me, and I want my son, Bharat, to be the king and not Ram. Now, father has to agree to the wife, and he tells Ram that not only that you will not become the king now, you'll have to go to the forest for 14 years. Suddenly, from one who was going to become king, he comes down to a forest dweller who can't even wear a king's clothes. Because that was also a condition that he'll not take anything. He'll not take any gold and satin clothes and this and that to the jungle. Now there, when he is already at the Nadir is the lowest point of a graph. So when he was already at the lowest point of the graph, not made king, thrown to the jungle with his wife and his brother, suddenly what happens? His wife is abducted. His wife is kidnapped. Even less, at least there was somebody to cook and clean for him. Now that is also gone. His wife is also gone. And then it's also a question of the wife that he loved went away. Where did she go away? Now he has to look for her. And when he is looking for her, he comes to know that she has been abducted by this man called Ravan. And then how to get it from Ravan, because Ravan is a Rakshasa. Rakshasa is a bad man. It's not Rakshasas have some wing or something else, but basically Rakshasas and non-Rakshasas are like you must have been told by your teachers, an antagonist and a protagonist. A good man who is working for something positive, an antagonist is a man who is working for something negative, very personal, very selfish. So here is a Ravan who is taken for the selfish things Sita away, because he wants to woo Sita, he wants to love Sita if possible. Sita is not letting that happen in Ashok Vatika. Then poor Ram has to make an army, and no human army is available to him. So he decides that I'll make an army of the monkeys, of the bears, of a little squirrel, and everybody. Now, look at a man who has to raise.
The monkeys was Hanuman's team, right?
Only Hanuman's team, the total team of Hanuman's. Hanuman belonged to that race. Now, whether they were really monkeys or whether they were people who resembled monkeys with still a tail, we all have something called tailbone. Do you know? In our body, the last thing in our vertebral column is called the tailbone still. Why? Because we also had a tail once upon a time. So maybe they were people who had not evolved totally into human beings, but little lesser than that, with not only the tailbone like you and me, but also a whole tail or a little tail. So now he had, but they were not as trained as Rama and other people, so they had to be trained. Then they had to. Now, when he was ready, this character, so at least he got an army. Now there came a ocean in between. Now, how to cross that ocean? That is very difficult. So Rama had to build a bridge with some stones that could float. Now, whether they really float or Rama gave them some kind of a, like our bridges, they hang in the air. How do they hang in the air? They are not flying, but there are methods to do it. In the same way, did he find some methods to float his stones? So he had to make this bridge. Now, when he made this bridge and reached there, his brother became unconscious because of, while during the war, because of a special kind of weapon that hit him, Lakshmana. Now, what you do? Somebody is about to die in a foreign land where the fight is still going on. So what you do? Look at the condition of Ram, whose wife is gone. He's come with great difficulty to Lanka. Now his brother is also gone. What will be the mental condition of this character? He'll be at the pits of his life. But then there is a doctor who called the Vaidya Sushen, who comes and tells that there is a medicine, but that's far away in a mountain. How do you get it? So then Hanuman flies. He can't recognize the medicine. So he brings the whole medical store with him or the whole mountain with him. And then the Vaidji picks up the correct medicine and then gives it to Lakshman, and Lakshman comes back to life. Now Ram is again, your character which was there again comes up a little. But then when he is fighting Ravan is not ready to die. 10 times he cuts his 10 heads, but still Ravan is not ready to die. Now what shall we do? Will I never be able to win and get my wife free? But that's when Ravan's brother comes and tells something in his ear that, well, you have to hit his navel. That's where the Amrit is. And he hits the navel and Ravan dies and he's able to liberate his wife. Now goes back to his place, Ayodhya, where the brother is waiting for 14 years for him to come back. And he has come back victorious with his wife. And the character who started from here while he was going to become the king went down, 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 down here. Then again slowly, slowly, slowly came up, but then again down. Slowly went up, then again down. Then ultimately he came up and became the king of Ayodhya on the day of the Diwali. So now what is happening with the character is the character arc. Now what is happening with Sita is another character arc. One who was a Rajkumari, who was the daughter of Janak, another king somewhere. She now saw this young man and fell in love with him, this dark, tall young man called Ram. Now, she is very happy that now I'm married and she go to Sasral and she's going to become queen from just a princess. But suddenly when she was going to become a queen, she falls down. She falls down and she falls down and she finds herself in the jungle, but still she is happy that, okay, I'm with my husband, I'm with my Devarji, and I will serve them and make their life beautiful even in this jungle. But then what happens? She's kidnapped. Now, woman kidnapped, you know what can happen to a woman kidnapped? You know that she could be tortured, she could be raped, she could be anything. And Ravan does try doing these things. He even comes in the camouflage of Ram himself. But she said, no, I can smell out that you are not Ram, you are another man. So somehow she has to kind of save herself and keep her sanity in this prison where she was. Though it was an open kind of a prison, but nevertheless it was a prison. She couldn't leave that Ashok Vatika, the garden, with a lot of Ashoka trees. So what's happening to this? Then she hears only, she can't see, that a war is happening. Now in war, anything can happen. Her husband could die. In any war can go for ages, no matter how strong a person is. We have seen America being defeated in Afghanistan. We have seen America being defeated in Iraq. We have seen America being defeated in Libya. So we know that it's no guarantee because I'm a big player, I'm going to win. After all, they had to leave all these countries, including Afghanistan. So it's not that my husband is very good and now he'll win. No, anything can happen in a war for various reasons. So she's very anxious, she's very tense. And this time, if something happens, it's not only the crown which will go, it will be the life of her husband which will go. Then who will come to defend? But through this anxiety, she comes one day, Sri Ram ki jai, Sri Ram ki jai, because Ram has won. Then again, when she is very happy that my husband has won, all the female characters who were guarding her, the Rakshasis, started crying because their husbands had been killed. Now she is in two minds what to do, how to give solace to these women, the Rakshasis. Oh my God, their husbands are dead. Okay, mine is not dead. I'm very happy for it. But look at her empathy. Look at how she loves anything, any alive thing, even if they are Rakshasis. So her character is going another way. Then she is very happy when the Ram meets her and they reach there and she made queen. Wow, now I'm the queen. Very good, very good. But what happens? A Dhobi in Ayodhya says that how can we be sure about her character? Because she had been away from the home. And what does Ram do? Whom we all pray to as a god and a very fair man. He says, well, I'll have to be first fair to my people than only to my family, which is a good thing. But nevertheless, being fair to the people of Ayodhya who were questioning Sita's character, he had to abandon Sita and send her to a forest again for 12 years when he himself was living in Ayodhya. So look at her character, again going down. Again, after 12 years, somehow her two sons, Love and Kush, they save her by catching the horse of Rama who had sent it for a big yajna where he wanted to be the king of the world. But they said, no king of the world. These two young boys captured it. But then when it was revealed to them that this horse belongs to your father, they came to Ayodhya and met the father. Now the mother also came behind them and met the husband after a long time, and she thought that now everything will be okay. At least now I have two sons, grown-up sons. She was the single mother to them, like we have seen so many families. And she was very happy that my husband is with me. That's when somebody said that, yeah, it's okay that you had the Agni Pariksha, you had the trial by fire in Ayodhya, but it never happened here. So why don't you now give another test of your virtuosity? That's when Sita says, enough is enough. And I would rather go back into the earth because she was the daughter of the earth, goddess earth. And the earth gave way and she went inside, never to meet anybody, never to see this world, which was so unfair to this woman. So look at her graph. Her graph started from being a princess, then again going into the earth, despite being Ram's pure, virtuous wife and mother to his two kids, Love and Kusha. And then what happens to Ram's arc? Again, who is very happy, but after Sita, he also could not live alone. And after some time, he gave his throne and his crown to Kusha, the younger son. They were twins, but one came after the other, and went and drowned himself in the river called Saryu, in a ghat in Ayodhya itself. Look at the character graph. From one happy boy who was going to be the king, from there being thrown, then when fight with Ravana, the strongest opponent in the world, then coming back again, becoming king, but again going down into the river. This is what makes it interesting. Now, is this story different from the other king story which I told you? Is it? Is it interesting or not?
For sure, for sure. This is
Yes.
So many twists and turns in a character's life. Because everything that happens in a script happens to the characters in the script. But the interesting thing is that these characters could be not only humans, they could be non-human characters also. Have you seen the Toy Story? A lovely
yes,
film.
yes,
Have
lovely.
you seen the Wall-E? Have you seen Tom and Jerry?
Yes,
Tom and Jerry has been seen by everybody or not?
Yes.
Now, Tom and Jerry are not human beings, but how does it matter? They still are characters. And you see how they behave. Sometimes one is up, second time the other is up. And how everything goes on till one of them leaves the scene or both of them decide to live happily ever after. This is what is very important in making a character graph. If nothing changes in my character's life, main character and other characters, then it's not a good script because nothing is changing. Change happens in life and change must happen in a good film script. And that is what essentially the arc of a character is. An arc doesn't only like a geometrical arc go up. It can go up and down and down and up. And it's more of a kind of a graph curve, which is on a graph you see. You see, it's very important. Have you ever seen the ECG graph? When a patient is there of a heart patient, you must have seen duck, 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 duck. Have you ever seen? Otherwise, go to your laptops and see how a ECG graph looks. An ECG graph goes up, down, 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 up, 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 down, 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 up, 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 down, 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 up, down, up. Only then something comes alive. A human being is only alive if his ECG graph is not a straight line, but a graph which goes up and down, up and down, up and down.
and
That is
such
what
is
life
the life
is.
of human beings and the stories of characters that we will all come across in whether it's books or movies or whatever. I think
Whatever.
unbelievably amazing examples you shared with us, Atulji. Thanks for great insight. Shall we all? I'm going to just. I think Krishav has been willing to wanting to ask a question. I'll
Yes,
let
yes,
him
yes.
ask you a question. Krishav,
Yes, sir.
yeah.
I have heard two stories of Ramayana in
Hmm.
which the building of the bridge in first Hanuman.
Krisha, we have lost you.
Yeah, you are in. You're frozen, Krishav.
There was that throw in the water. There is like
Who is asking? Raise
Krishav,
your
can you
hand,
come
please.
back again because we didn't hear you in between. We lost you.
I have heard this story. Sir.
Hi, Krisha. Now you
Yes.
are alive.
What is your question? You have two stories or two questions?
Two stories about Ramayana you have heard about the bridge.
Yes, in which one story, Hanuman says that there are two boys who were cursed that anything they will throw in water will float on it. And the other story that I read was also of Ramayana, in which the workers and the makers of the bridge wrote Lord Ramayana's name and they floated. So I doubt that which story is the true one.
Very interesting, Krisha. Number one, like you make a story and the same story is told differently by Lavanya, is differently told by Titi, is differently told by Paridhi, is differently told by Ritu, or Vihan, or Ayush, or Ayan, or Olivia or Ovia?
Ovia.
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 Very good. Ovia. So same story. If I give you two characters to make a story, all of you will make a different story. In the same way, Ramayana also has been told many times by many people. It is said that the first Ramayana was written by a rishi called Valmiki, but then after that, a Tamil man called Kamban wrote it. Then after that, a Telugu man wrote it. After that, a Bengali man called Prithibash wrote it. After that, much after that, the Hindi man called Tulsidas wrote it. After that, even the Sikhs wrote their own Ramayana. Jainis wrote their own Ramayana. So there are at least 300 versions of Ramayana available, even more. And everybody brings something new. They are not just translating. It's not a cold translation. Everybody is bringing something new to the table. So in the same way that you have heard that there were two kinds of things for the making of the bridge, there was two boys. Actually, the two boys are named Nal and Neel. The Nal and Neel were kind of very ingenious engineering boys who could kind of help Ram make this bridge. Other story goes that on any stone that you wrote Ram became a kind of a floating stone because all the stones wanted to help Ram. So in the same way, there are different kinds of stories. There are some stories where they do it with a bridge of the boats, which are still made in some places, the bridge of boats. So on the bridge of boats used to be so strong that even an elephant could go, though there were no elephants in Ram's army, but still. Akbar used to use a bridge of boats to bring his armies from this side to that side. So the people talk about a bridge of boats. But most likely thing is, if you look at the Adams Bridge, go to your go to your Wikipedia and find an Adams Bridge. Now you will see that between India and Sri Lanka, there is a strip which is seen in any photograph taken by the satellites. So it was perhaps a natural formation called a shoal. A shoal is between two narrow things where, for whatever reasons, the earth comes up only a little few feet below the surface of the ocean. Now, if by the knowledge of hydrology, Ram and his people, who were coastal people, knew this, that there is a shoal on the sea, and you just have to put some heavy stones on that shoal and keep on putting them till they come up to the ground. So Ram must have done that kind of a thing. Whatever he did, it was a very interesting, ingenious, and very interesting marvel of architecture those days. To take an army was not easy. Some people say that about 1,000 years before today, the sea patterns also changed. So some people say the seas used to go down very much during the ebb. And that's when people used to cross between India and Sri Lanka. Whatever happened, the thing is that crossing a sea with such a big army was a big feat. That's what makes our character a hero, who could think of this, who could execute this successfully without losing a single life. These days, what happens? You are making a bridge and the lives are lost. You make a bridge in USA, in Baltimore, and the lives are lost, those who are preparing the road, because a ship comes and hits it. So, etc., etc. In such a situation, both the stories are valid. They may be true or not, it doesn't matter. Listen to a very important line which I have written in a play, that every great story has truth in it. If you listen to a story about a monkey who is taken by a crocodile, because the crocodile thought his heart will be very sweet because he eats sweet mangoes on the tree on which he lives. But then monkey says, oh my God, why didn't you tell me before? I have left my heart home. So he said, okay, we'll go home and bring it. And he brings it back and the monkey goes to the tree and says, bye-bye. So now there is so much truth in this that people will like to take advantage of you. They are so selfish for their own ends. And they'll make a fool of you in this world. There's so much of truth. But if you say that, no, seriously, there was a monkey, and seriously, there was a crocodile, and seriously, the monkey went on crocodile's back, and seriously, crocodile brought him back. There's no truth in the story. So listen to what I'm saying, that in every great story, there is a great truth, but every great story is not true. So whether Ram's story is true or not, there is truth in it, and that's why we respect it.
Wonderfully put, Atulji. Wonderfully put.
Do you understand, boys and girls?
Yes, sir.
Every story has a truth.
Yes, sir.
The Tom and Jerry story is a lot of truth in it. But we know that paper-made characters are not true. How does it matter? There's truth in it. That's why we laugh. That's why we are with it. That's why we cheer
Tom
for
and Jerry
both of
is
them.
true because it is true about how like siblings fight and all. But if
Sibling
we
fight,
say like
and sometimes the younger
seriously,
sibling, the weaker sibling, is able to kind of win the battle. So it's not that only in size you are little and only because you are a mouse, you are going to lose. No, here the mouse wins. And the other thing is, good thing is, none of us ever wish that, oh, I wish this cat is dead. No, we don't. And yet we want that cat to kind of lose the battle. Look at the beautiful thing that has happened in this Olympic between the Indian javelin thrower, Mr. Neeraj Chopra, and the Pakistani javelin thrower who won the gold. Mothers of both these great athletes are wishing the child of the other mother. No, he should win. No, he should win. No, he should win. So we don't want ill of them. None of us said that, oh, how come Pakistan won? They should have lost. No, he played better and he should win. So all these stupid enmities that we keep in our hearts are not the right thing. Let's fight in the spirit of competition without permanently damaging our enemy, like the Tom and Jerry do.
Wonderful,
Understand?
Atulji.
Do you agree with me?
On this note, I think we should conclude the session. We will continue what we are doing on character in the next session. But I think with you joining us and giving us such incredible insights, children, give me a thumbs up or a double thumbs up for Atulji. What are you giving? One single thumbs up or double thumbs up for Atulji? Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. He's a great man of great knowledge. He's written so many stories, so many movies, so many things. I mean, endless for the last, I think, 25, 30 years plus, maybe more. I don't know, maybe 40 years. He's done so much great work. He's an ocean of knowledge. And we are lucky to have him here today with us and for him to share such great insights. So, children, did you all understand?
Thank you.
Creating
Love you,
character.
Atulji. Thank you, sir.
Young men and young women. Lovely to meet with you.
So shall we all clap for Atulji once for thanking us for joining us today and sharing.
And this clap is for you.
Right. Thank you, Atulji. It was great. And there is another batch of students looking to meet you this afternoon. Thank you very much for the great insights. Now I know so much you're bringing. I'll probably slot you in a little more earlier in the session, afternoon session. So thank you. Great. Anybody quickly before one last question? Anybody wants to ask Atulji before we leave? Raise your hand if you have a question. Okay, Shaurya Upadhyay. Yes, Shaurya.
Yes, also, actually, there were not two. There are actually many of the reasons that actually Krishu Patel said that there were actually 20 of these theories about Ram, that how he, the Ram Setu. First two was that he's Krishu Patel said. The one that most people like and through say that this is true is that actually the rocks that were put on were actually of igneous means there are the rocks which could float. For example, like igneous rocks or volcanic rocks.
That's right. Some people say that they were corals of a kind. And there is a very lovely picture in which I have acted. It's called Ram Setu, which has Akshay Kumar in it.
Class ended, Marcy.
Oh, wow. Good.
Hello.
So, So if you get a chance,
The
see that
class
film.
has ended, sir said you can
Hello,
leave.
please be muted, everybody.
But he just said one.
So I
Ah.
also watched the Ram Setu movie.
Yeah,
Good.
you watched the Ram Setu movie. Okay, then you have seen the whole conflict where I
Yes,
play
sir.
the chief
But sir,
justice.
I didn't realize that you were in that.
I was playing the
That's not
chief
important
justice.
right now. Let's only
It's
stick
not
to what we
important.
are
It's
discussing.
not
Yeah.
important. I just mentioned the film and mentioned the fact that I'm also there. But because it's on the same subject of whether Ram was true or not, whether that bridge was true or not, I gave you a couple of theories about the shoal, about the other ways of making bridges and things. So the thing is, as I said, the story has truth in it, but whether the story is true or not, there's a difference. Getting?
Amazing, Atulji. That's a great insight that we'll leave with today. That ends the session. We have one final session next week where we'll continue with character. Had a few more things. Nakul Mehta will join us next session, so don't miss it again. We have some wonderful people, celebrities come and join and share great insights. Thank you, children. Have a lovely Sunday afternoon. I'm going to meet you all next week. Let's all say bye to Uncle Al and Atulji. Bye to Atulji.
Yay!
Uncle Al.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye, bye.
See you soon.
Bye to Uncle Alec.
Bye, sir.
Bye, bye.
Love you, Atulji.
Thank you.
Bye, bye,
Bye,
bye.
sir.
Bye.
Bye, sir.
Go Writers, go! Go Writers,
Bye,
go!
sir.
Yeah.
Hey,
Come
go
on.
writers, go everybody. Go writers, go.
Go, Riders, go.
Okay, wonderful, all of you. Thank you for a great session again. I'll see you all next Sunday. Bye-bye, everyone.